Welcome everybody to Zeros to Heroes. I am Josh, and with me today we have Joey. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not bad. So today we are going to be reviewing the entirety of Marvel's Iron Fist. This will go over our likes, dislikes, what we thought could improve the show, could have improved the show, and basically we're going to give you an entire review on the first season of Marvel's Iron Fist. So first let's go over the plot. The character Iron Fist, Danny Rand, comes back from Kunlun after 15 years of being away and finds out that his company, Rand Enterprises, has been taken over by his father's friends, the Meachums. So, what did you think of the overall story, the overall plot for the season, with it focusing more on the Danny Rand side of the Iron Fist rather than Iron Fist itself?
As far as the character goes, I thought they did pretty good. I thought they stayed true to the comic for the most part, and like focusing on Danny Rand as a character was good because after all, this is his first season. This is his origin story. So being able to see more about Danny's life versus how everything was in Kunlun, which they could tackle actually in the second season, I thought was a very good opening, a very good starter. There were times where I thought that maybe they were trying to go a little overcomplicated with the story with Danny, but for the most part, I found it to be serviceable, and ended up enjoying that.
Yeah, I think they did a really well balance of dividing the series out between Danny Rand and his Iron Fist moments, because in the show we get more Danny Rand than we actually do Iron Fist. He's not really the Iron Fist that we know in the comics, so this being his first season, I do like the fact that they're developing his character, introducing his character in a new way, giving us more information on Danny as a person, because to be honest, Iron Fist is not really a well-known character, widely known character, unlike the Punisher or Daredevil or even Luke Cage. He's more of a smaller character that not many people outside the larger comic community would know. So I like the fact that they're giving more depth into the character.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
The cast for this series is Finn Jones playing Danny Rand, Jessica Henwick as Colleen Wigg, Jessica Stroup as Joy Meacham, Tom Pelfrey as Ward Meacham, David Wenham as Harold Meacham. We have reprising her role again, Wai Ching Ho as Madame Gao, and we also have again Claire Temple, who is played by Rosario Dawson. So, what did you think of the cast in this series? Do you think they did a really good job, or do you think they fell short somewhere?
Well, I think it was in terms of the majority of the cast. I think they did fine. For the Meachums, specifically, I thought the actors and actresses, really pulled off their roles, especially in the later half of the season when the plot really started to go. Madame Gao from Daredevil all the way to Iron Fist, just very fantastic, very interesting. Just enjoyed her portrayal a lot in the show. I'd say the one casting criticism I didn't really care for was the casting of Bakuto.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
little off.
yeah. There was just I guess there was just something about the way he was carrying his character. And he was trying to come off as he's trying to come off as imposing and stuff, but I just don't really get that vibe from him, especially when he reveals himself. to be the villain for the back half of the season, and because all I'm really seeing when I'm looking at him is the kitten calendar guy from Transformers 2.
Yeah, yeah. I think he wasn't as imposing as some would like to have it as. I guess with Copperhead was in Luke Cage, or at least the second half of Luke Cage. So I can get where you're going from there. I thought they would have Madame Gao be the villain throughout the entire thing, but to have her role cut basically in half, because she's only in like 9 episodes of this series. So that was a little interesting.
Yeah, I felt that limiting Madame Gao was a huge missed opportunity for the show.
Yeah, I actually thought that they were going to go with her the entire way, and I thought she was going to be the person who would fight Danny at the very end, because I didn't see the villainous side, or I saw the villainous side of Harold Meachum, but I didn't think they would make him the big bad of the entire series.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to have a big martial arts fight with Madame Gao at the very end and reveal that she's not as frail as she looks.
Exactly. I mean, because if you recall, back to one of the it was like one of the middle episodes. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, where Danny's going through those tests to try to get that girl back, and then what does Madame Gao do at the very end when he's rolling up on her? She does some kind of like force push or whatever, and just knocks his ass back.
That's never explained.
And exactly, and I'm just like, that would have been such a cool. Story to follow with Madame Gao and get into her character, because we know, just based on what she's told, that she had also come from Kunlun.
Yeah, she's been to Kunlun. She's known Iron Fists before, and apparently she's had some sort of training, but we don't really know what that is, because she can negate the Iron Fist to an extent, I do believe, with that force push.
Yeah,
that came out of nowhere.
Totally. I mean, because I was just, for a second there, I was just trying to make sure I saw what I saw, because because you go back to Daredevil, she never did anything like that before.
No, she's just a businesswoman in that.
Exactly. I mean, so was it something new that she recently came into? Has she always been able to do it? We don't know. We don't get those answers because they don't dive into her character, I think, as much as they should have.
I understood where they wanted to go with the big bad at the end, but I think it was a missed opportunity to have Madame Gao have a epic martial arts fight with Danny at the end. But yeah, let's actually talk about the real big bad for a minute. Harold Meachum. If you guys don't know, the actor is actually from the Lord of the Rings movie. He is Faramir. I saw him for the first time, and for the next few episodes, I was like, where have I seen him? I know I've seen that face. Looked him up. Faramir. Wow, that is interesting.
Oh yeah, very much so. Because that's the thing, is like, I don't really recall seeing him very much after Lord of the Rings, except for like maybe tiny little bit parts in movies here and there. Because the only other time I recall him in any kind of major role was Van Helsing's priest assistant in the movie Van Helsing.
Okay, yeah, I remember him in that.
That's the only other time I remember the guy. But I mean, they gave him a role, and I definitely felt he owned that role. Like he was, he definitely, like, I mean, he went full villain, full crazy. Especially right at the end during that last fight, and like, and I think it's really cool, to see that we have a villain that can't really die unless certain conditions are met, like his body's burned or his head's chopped off, but he can always come back.
That was a big twist for me too, because I got the feeling that they were going to make him the big villain, by the time, right around the time that Ward was having his breakdown and actually stabbed his father, Harold. So when they actually went and killed him on the show, I was like, whoa, I thought, what's going on here? Isn't he supposed to be like the big villain? Aren't they going to make him
Right.
the villain?
Yeah, no.
And then when he actually comes back from the dead, I was like, whoa, okay. So this is a thing now.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like, because the minute Ward stabbed him and stuff, and I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, it's too soon. It's too soon. There's no way they got a high-profile actor like that, and they're just gonna boot him off the show like that. It's like something is gonna happen where he's still gonna be alive. Like,
yes, yeah, like with Conmouth and Luke Cage, I thought he was a great character. I thought they were gonna go all the way with him throughout the entire show, but they killed him off midway, and so I was a little disappointed with that.
yeah, I agree with that one. You know, when it came to Luke Cage, because I feel like that between Luke Cage and Iron Fist, there's sort of like a reverse thing happening there, where I felt that the first half of Luke Cage was really good, but then the back half of Luke Cage was a little slower and wasn't quite as interesting. You know, but then you have Iron Fist, where the front half was a little bit of a slow burn, but then once you hit that second half, then it's just, you know, it's full action and everything's just crazy.
Yeah, you actually have to agree with the critics on some sort of a level. The first half of Iron Fist is a slow burn. It is a bit of a challenge to get through sometimes, but it's really interesting. It shows the business side of things. It shows Danny getting accustomed to his surroundings once again after being in Kunlun for 15, almost 16 years. So it gives us that much more of a depth to his character. But yes, the critics are entirely wrong on this entire show. It does not deserve an 18%.
God no.
Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes either way, but still doesn't deserve an 18%.
Yeah, well, I think definitely what's most important is not so much the reviewing, you know, the critic review score, as much as it is the user review score, because the user review score, the last time I checked, was sitting at an 85%.
Yeah, and that is much more respectable for Iron Fist. I think that is definitely the true rating for the show, because critics are stupid.
Yeah, no, especially recently, I don't know what it is. Like, I've seen critics giving, you know, certifying fresh movies that have been bad, and then, you know, just dogging movies that have been, you know, really good, at least according to the audience reviews and such like that. So, I mean, a friend of mine actually brought this up to me recently. It's like, you know, are professional critics still needed? Especially with these review sites where we can just review it ourselves as users. You know, we can give our own opinions, and then I think from there you get a more honest review of the product that, you know, you'll be either watching or using.
Yeah, I definitely think professional review sites, professional movie critics are more or less a thing of the past. I think more independent review sites or review videos, kind of like this one, are more needed in the movie community, in the movie and TV community.
Right. And you know, again, with that, I totally agree, because, you know, with reviews and talks like this, you know, like I say, you're getting a more honest review of it, because we're not being paid by the companies to say, oh my God, this is amazing. We're not being paid by other companies to trash the product. We're giving our full honest opinion and review of what we think of this show. And I think the general consensus between all the user reviews and stuff is that the show is pretty good.
Yeah, it is definitely not the best of the Netflix Marvel series, but it is a very good show to watch nonetheless.
Oh yeah, agreed.
So let's actually get into the Meacham siblings. What did you think of Joy and Ward, and I guess their relationship with each other, and as well as Danny?
Okay, so when it comes to the Meacham characters, like their relationship, like you can tell that yes, they are siblings. They do care about each other. Uh, but then I think it's kind of interesting. It's like when Danny comes in, and of course, I think the reaction is, what it should be like.
It's
You
fair,
can't,
yeah.
yeah, you can't be who you say you are. I totally understood that. And like, and I think you could really see how much it kind of hurt Danny too, when it's like, these are the people he considers family, and throughout the show and stuff. That's one thing I think we never really got to see was a little more interaction between Danny and the Meachums, because he always says he does consider them family, yet is consistently keeping them out of the loop on just about everything. And as far as like the relationship between like Joy and her brother go, like yeah, I think it's a perfectly believable relationship, and like when she gets really worried about him and stuff as he falls deeper into his addictions.
Yeah, that was interesting plot development because he's not hooked on heroin like Joy thinks. He's hooked on the aspirin or like the painkillers and whatnot.
Right.
So that was really interesting. And another thing, before we go forward, I think Hogarth was the smartest character when it came to figuring out Danny was actually Danny, because she actually made him give her information on things that literally no one else would have thought to think of.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I think the reason for that is because because she was such a prominent character in Jessica Jones, and she knows the whole thing about that. To her, weirder things have already happened. So why wouldn't it be plausible that Danny survives the plane crash? So then it's like in her mind, okay, yeah, I have seen weirder things, so I'm just gonna give him some challenge questions, and if he can answer those, he's Danny Rand. I look forward to seeing her a little bit more in the Netflix shows as time progresses. Like, I mean, at some point, because she's such a high-profile lawyer character, I would really like to see her in Daredevil.
Oh, that'd be cool. I think she would probably even be a more prominent role in like the Punisher series.
Oh
too,
yeah.
because they have his cases also too.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'd be kind of funny if she ended up as the character in The Punisher that was always getting Frank off for murder.
that would be interesting. We have in this series, we got introduced to one of at least one of the daughters of the dragon, Colleen Wig. We know that Claire is supposed to be the second daughter of the dragon, or at least sometime down the road. So, what do you think of her character, her development from just simple dojo teacher to the hand member, and then back to Danny's accomplice once again?
Yeah. So when it came to Colleen, for me, outside of Danny, I think she is probably the most interesting character on the show, because she is going through her own arc that's kind of similar. Like she's it's almost like her and Danny are following the same paths. They're just starting from opposite ends of the spectrum. Danny's coming from Kunlun, and she's coming from the Hand. So as the show progresses, you're kind of gauging, and you're kind of seeing that maybe Kunlun wasn't what all Danny thought it was, and the same thing with her when she figures out the Hand wasn't really all she thought it was. So you kind of see them meet in the middle at some point, which I think is really cool. And then, like when it comes to her, especially in the early show, where she's going through like the fight cages and stuff like that, can like at first she's like, okay, I'm doing this just for a little bit of money, but then you're really seeing, nah, she's there because she enjoys it. She enjoys putting them guys down and just knocking the crap out of them. Which I wish they would have. I wish they would have followed up with that a little bit more, because she only goes to the fight cages 2 times.
Yeah, they could have had her have like a mental breakdown and actually kill one of the guys, then have her want to do some sort of redemption arc because she broke the code of Bushido.
Exactly. Because you can definitely see in her she does have a type of bloodlust, which I'm assuming is there, hidden in her from her training by the hand, because they need soldiers who are willing to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it also would have been cool to. I think it would be cool to see in maybe season 2, Danny takes over the dojo for her and gives her like some sort of martial arts training.
Mm-hmm.
Becomes her sensei, her new sensei.
That'd definitely be some cool development, because it would almost be like her, accepting that, the hand was all wrong for me. I need to be retrained. I need to start again.
Yeah, I need to get rid of this brainwashing. I need to start anew and become the warrior that I was meant to be, not the warrior that the hand wanted me to be.
Right.
Getting into the hand, it's a really interesting development because we get to see that, at least from Colleen's perspective, there are 2 factions of the hand. There is Madame Gao's hand, and then there is Bakudo's hand. Who else out there that are listening to this video thought that Bakudo would be a good guy, or at least hoping that he would be a good guy through the series?
I mean, the minute Bakudo stepped on the screen, I'm looking at this guy. I was like, because he comes off, at first he's coming off as this really nice guy, but then I'm thinking, it's like, he's a little too nice, and and he's got those wide, creepy eyes. So
I think I would have liked it if they had gone a little off the source material and actually made this faction of the hand a good guy's faction, actually wanting to stop Madame Gao and help the city instead of actually taking it over.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely would have been interesting, and it would have thrown a wrench, in Danny's ideology. And what he was taught. So I thought that could have been like a really cool idea, but of course, the hand is the hand. It's got to be evil, So that's why they just kind of like throw that out, like, oh nope, they're evil. That's just it.
Yeah, that's what I actually thought they were going for when we actually see Bakudo and his school. They're just like, okay, there's something going on here. Or is it the hand? Because if so, are they good guys? Yeah, so I was thinking, maybe they would go with the good guy hand concept, but no, they didn't, and everyone's evil.
Yep, which just reinforces Danny's ideology and what he was taught.
What did you think of the flashbacks in the show? Because they give some interesting flashbacks and how he sees the flashbacks.
Oh, the way he was doing it. Yeah, no, because I'll say this, like, when I was watching the show, and every time they did the flashback, they did the thing with, like, they started shaking the camera a little bit. He's, like, he's got his hands on his head, trying to press his head in, maybe trying to subside a headache, and they got the white lines going. It's like, I thought that when he was doing the flashbacks, it kind of almost felt like a PTSD kind of thing.
Yeah, it sort of felt like that to me, too.
As far as the flashbacks goes, I mean, they were fairly interesting. I mean, we didn't really get much, like, via after the plane crash. Like, we got some of that where, because we keep going into the snow, we keep seeing the bodies of his dad and the pilots,
saw that over and over again.
Yeah, saw that over and over again. Saw saw those monks, and then of course the scene where the monks are just beating him with the shinais.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those were definitely the more prominent flashbacks in the show. And then towards the end, you got a little bit more with like the cave. Where you saw the eyes of the dragon, and then like over by the waterfall there where he's talking to his friend. That's pretty much it, because like that's one thing I wish we would have seen a little bit more of. I wish they would have done a little bit more of Kunlun in the show, and I wasn't sure if it was just due to budgetary restraints or if they wanted to save it for season 2. But
it might be a bit of both, but yeah, I think they definitely missed a big opportunity in not showing the dragon. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, every time I hear Dragon of Marvel, I always think of Fin Fang Foom, but I'm like, that's not it. That's a different character in the Marvel universe.
They got to bring Fin Fang Foom into the MCU. That'd be amazing.
That would be great. I'd love just like the Avengers just fight a giant dragon.
No, yeah. He's more of a cosmic being, I think, so it'd be really cool to see him show up in Guardians of the Galaxy and then go into like a Iron Man 4.
Yeah, that would definitely be cool.
What did you think of the finale, of the final battle between Harold and Danny?
Between Harold and Danny, I mean, you know, I thought what they did was good. Like, because we're getting a little bit of fighting, but then we're getting a lot more exposition. Especially with Harold talking about he's like how he wished he'd killed Danny's dad. Way earlier, back when the building was practically finished. And I think you got some good moments in there, and you got to really see how crazy and off the walls Harold has really become because of the constant rebirth. As they stated earlier, that every time they come back, it's like their body comes back, but
They lose a bit of their mind.
yeah, exactly. It's like they come back with a little less of their soul, so they're definitely a little more off the walls. And but I thought the way they handled it was good, especially right there at the end before Danny, just like kicks him and like he ends up impaling himself. I thought that was really cool because that's one thing I've really been enjoying about the Netflix Marvel shows is because they're not afraid to go there a bit with the gore.
Oh yeah, especially mid season when Harold was just hacking the shit out of those two hand goons.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like when they show him like hammering the faces and stuff, I thought that they were just kind of like pan away a little bit so you didn't see it. But no, I mean they got the full front view
Oh yeah,
of his jaws missing and all that stuff, and I was like, that's vicious. That is awesome.
yeah. Ward's reaction was definitely on point with that. It's like, oh,
Yep, he's just like, I'm just gonna go over here and throw up.
and then I see my dad's fingers like, oh shit, yeah. Yeah, I thought the finale, the final fight was really interesting because up to that point, Danny has lost his ability to control the Iron Fist. So it's really cool to see him actually have to go through that all over again and regain control of the fist. And when he does, he is able to heal his hand because Harold shot him in his hand. And interesting enough, Danny wasn't the one who actually killed Harold. It was Ward who killed him. So yeah, it was like Colleen said in the show. She wasn't the one who killed Bakuto, or at least quote unquote killed Bakuto, because we don't know if he actually died. It was Danny's friend, and it wasn't Danny who killed Ward. Wasn't Danny who killed Harold. It was Ward. So they don't have that blood on their hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I think I think that's very fitting. That Ward's the one who got to, finish off his dad, because I think out of all the characters, he's the one that suffered the most.
Yeah, he did. Really did.
Caring for his dad for 13 years.
And lying to his sister.
Lying to his sister, yep. And at the same time, taking the physical abuse when his dad lost control of himself.
Any other things that you noticed from the show? Any other thoughts from this new Marvel series?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a few thoughts and stuff, just general things like where the show could possibly go from here. Because, when you go into diving a little more into the finale, like, one thing I'm just kind of interested in seeing, but I'm wondering how they're really going to go that way, is seemingly with Joy teaming up with the Hand in a way, because it seems like Danny's childhood friend is now a member of the Hand.
Or at least a faction that wants him dead, because that was a little bizarre, him going to Joy and suggesting that they kill him, and Joy actually agreeing.
Exactly,
which is interesting.
Yeah, no, that was definitely one of the things I'm just kind of like, why would Joy even agree to that at the moment? Because like everything we've seen in the show suggests that Danny has been innocent the whole way, and has really done nothing personally to her, other than other than he found out that her dad was alive and didn't say anything. But other than that, like I think she was constantly, especially at the very end, was proved that her dad was not a good guy.
Yeah, I think that twist at the end with her agreeing to want to kill Danny is a little bit of
Out of character.
Off character, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm interested to see how they're going to explain her sudden shift. I mean, they're trying to. I guess he's trying to pull his friend was trying to pull out the whole. If Danny hadn't shown up, your life would have been just fine. You guys would still be running the company and all that stuff, and everything would carry on like normal. But at the same time, it's like, that's still.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it still doesn't seem like a good enough reason to agree to killing Danny, and then they pan over and Madame Gao's there, and she's, she's got that smile on her face, and I'm like, oh.
Is she with him, or is she just interested to hear the development?
Right. See, because what I took from it was that his friend decided to team up with Madame Gao. That's what I took from it. And now they're trying to recruit Joy into it because, she could be a valuable asset in the destruction of Danny Rand.
Mm-hmm. What I think would have been interesting to see, I don't think they would have ever done it, but would have been interesting is them having Madame Gao teach Danny a few moves or a few Iron Fist techniques because she knows more about the Iron Fist than he does. I think that would have been an interesting plot development, and I don't think they would have ever done that in the show.
Probably not. But it would have been a cool idea if maybe for at least the first half of the season. We know she's a villain from past shows, but I think it would have been kind of interesting if maybe she played it up that she was from Kunlun and tried to teach Danny some things about the Iron Fist in a way to try to convert him to her side. And then
she his hand. Yeah, that'd be
exactly. That would have been really cool because then I think that would have presented a little more confliction with Danny in his decision to either follow the path he's been trained in Kunlun or maybe try something new. Because
basically she would have earned his trust, and then she would have broken that trust by revealing that she is Hand, because that's his entire mission, to destroy the Hand.
Exactly. And I thought that would have been a really cool idea. Tell him early on that, hey, I know who killed your parents. Harold did. And then that would have just that would have helped earn his trust. And, then maybe out of that, during that first half, you could have maybe killed off Harold in the first half and actually have it mean something.
Yeah, especially that would have been really cool because, yeah, definitely I think Madame Gao should have been the big bad throughout the entire series, or at least during the last half.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She should have been the central villain all the way through, and I don't know why. That is definitely one thing with the Marvel Netflix shows that they seem to like to do a lot is they like to give you, especially when it came to Luke Cage, is present you one villain for the first half of the season and then try to there's a bigger bad out there kind of thing. But I never for once felt Bakuto was more of a threat than Madame Gao.
Yeah, they especially did that with Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin and then it having been this other guy.
Yeah, that was a little.
Yeah, everyone's still.
Marvel definitely has their flaws when it comes to storytelling and stuff. I mean, as far as Iron Man 3 goes, I didn't think it was a horrible movie by any stretch.
Not by any means.
It's just that was just probably not the smartest move in terms of twist ending to try to make the viewer like, oh my gosh, that's so deep and intense. There's someone worse out there. It's like, nah. It's like, present your villain early on, stick with that villain all the way through. Because it worked for Daredevil with the Kingpin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it worked with Jessica Jones with the Purple Man.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh yeah, he's Purple Man.
Best
David
villain
Tennant,
right there.
Best villain you will ever have in in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So at least so far.
I am sad. I am sad they killed him off because I would have loved to see him in like a season 2 or 3. But
yeah,
who knows? Maybe they can revive him somehow.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen it before, you know. I mean, we know that, you know, Daredevil season 2 at the very end, they brought Elektra back.
Yeah, they bring Elektra back.
Exactly, you know, and like, you know, Harold's been back. We know Harold's been back before, so it's like, you know, I mean, I could definitely see, you know, the Hand trying to take a more direct approach and saying, you know, hey, maybe we could actually use a guy on our side that could tell people what to do, and they have to obey.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
You know, so then they stick him in whatever it is, Tombstone or whatever, and like, you know, bring him back to life. That could have been a really cool idea.
And what's interesting, we don't know really who Sigourney Weaver is supposed to be in the Defenders TV show. We don't know what her character, what villain she's supposed to take on. So that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm really interested to seeing, you know, how they're gonna approach the Defenders, how they're going to, you know, how they're gonna bring them together. Like, you know, some speculate that it's gonna be Claire who's gonna do it.
It might be because she's the overall factor throughout the entire Netflix series.
Right.
She's the one constant.
Right. Now just, you know, and of course we're all wondering, it's like, you know, what's this threat gonna be? Like, you know, like when it comes, because right now when it comes to Luke Cage is in prison, is the threat gonna be so big that the police system, like, you know, the jail releases him to go fight? Or are they going to break him out of prison? You know, that's what it's definitely one thing I'm looking forward to and interested.
I could see them breaking him out. I don't see the police giving him the release forms.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, like I said, I guess it depends on what threat level we're working with here. You know, is it just going to be street level, or is it going to be, you know, are they going to be fighting the Hand, for example?
Yeah, it'd have to be more of a realistic threat than, say, with the Avengers and the alien wormhole above New York. It'd have to be much more realistic than that.
Oh boy, yeah, definitely got some interesting ideas going. So let me ask you: do you think Iron Fist could have used any improvements anywhere?
I think it definitely could have. I think they could have had the show focus a bit on Danny in the Iron Fist mode and show that he isn't as formidable as he claims he is. He isn't as trained as he should be, and they could have had someone teach him some more about being the Iron Fist, because we don't really get that very much. And yeah, to agree with the critics, the first 6 episodes, it was a bit of a hassle to get through sometimes, so I think they could have picked up the pace a little bit throughout the first 6 episodes, but after that, it was really great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I think, you know, with like a lot of especially the first 2 episodes, I really feel like the first 2 episodes really could have been combined into just one episode, and a lot of fat get cut from it.
I think they did a good job with what they had. If the budget wasn't as big as, say, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, or even Luke Cage, I think they did a really good job with the material they had, with the budget that they had.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like, you know, I liked Finn Jones in the role. I think they could spend a little more time on the choreography in the show. Because I think that's definitely one of the things that most fans will agree on, is that, you know, the fight scenes are, you know, subpar in comparison to other shows. Where like with Daredevil, for example, you know, with Daredevil, like, fight scenes are just like, you know, really gritty, intense, and, you know, you really feel the impact of every punch. And with Iron Fist, they could definitely use a little more time on the choreography. Like, I'm hoping, like, as of right now, you know, they have Finn Jones somewhere, you know, with a person training, and then they get like a fight choreographer to really work out the aspects of the show for the second season whenever it hits.
Yeah, because I do believe I heard that this was his first time doing any sort of martial arts, and it kind of did show a little. So yeah, the action, the fight scenes, the choreography wasn't as good as, some or most everyone would have liked it, but it was pretty enjoyable for the most part.
Oh, I agree. I agree. You know, I definitely look forward to seeing the character, you know, return for the Defenders. I look forward to an Iron Fist season 2. Though, of course, part of me kind of hopes that they don't do an Iron Fist season 2, nor do they do.
I think instead of an Iron Fist season 2 and a Luke Cage season 2, they do Heroes for
Hire. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Which everyone wanted to begin with instead of Luke Cage, but everyone loved Luke Cage, so we got that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, a Heroes for Hire show just would have been, I think, would be a great next step for the characters if Marvel, you know, commits to doing that.
Yeah, it definitely would be the next evolution in their story arcs, I think. So one final question, one that I think every fan has been wondering throughout the entirety of the series. Do you think Iron Fist will get his costume, or at least some sort of costume in the Defenders, at the end of the Defenders, or somewhere in season 2, or at least in Heroes for Hire?
Well, from what I'm understanding, like, I remember there was people were posting, you know, people on Facebook were posting these articles of like Finn Jones, like in an interview, saying that we weren't going to see the costume for a couple of seasons. Actually, like the way they were planning it is that because this was Iron Fist's origin story, and he still doesn't know everything about himself in terms of his powers and how to use them correctly, that throughout the next few seasons, we're just going to see him develop more and more and more into the character until he does don the costume finally.
Okay, yeah, so the donning of the costume would basically be him acknowledging that he is ready to become the full-on Iron Fist. Right.
And, you know, and I don't know why they want to wait so long to give him the costume, because, I mean, we got Daredevil's costume at the end of the first season. Which is really fitting, and I think they could have done that here also, where, you know, after he beats Harold and he regains the power to use, you know, the Iron Fist, that it would have been really fitting for him to say, okay, you know, I need to go out and do things to help people, you know, but I need a costume.
Yeah, because we did get to see at least a version of the costume in the black and white reel that we saw with Bakuto. That was really interesting. Cause, well, at least we got to see the mask, because that looked more of a 80s type of feel for Iron Fist.
Oh, yeah, exactly, you know. And, you know, and of course I'm kind of curious of which costume selection they're going to go with, because he's had a few different ones over the years. If they're going to go with the more traditional with the collar popped up and the V-neck kind of coming down, or if they were going to go with kind of the more new age version, kind of like the one you see in Ultimate Spider-Man, where it's basically just like a tight green shirt with pants and, you know, the mask and boots kind of thing. So
I've also heard people make suggestions for the version that's in the Marvel Heroes game, the 2016 game. So that'd be really interesting, kind of like a mesh version of his costume.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool costume too. It'll be interesting to see where they take the costume idea, if maybe over the next few seasons, what they'll be doing is they'll be adding a piece of it each season until we have a full costume.
Maybe that'd be interesting. Those were our thoughts on the Marvel Iron Fist TV show. Those were our honest thoughts. So basically, to finish off the show, what would you give this out of 10?
You know, for this, I mean, when you factor in everything, I'd give it about a 7.5 out of 10.
7.5? Yeah, that was going to be my answer too. So yeah, we really enjoyed the series. We think it definitely needed some improvements in at least the first half of the series, but it's overall it's a great series. You guys should definitely watch it if you haven't. And if you haven't and are watching this show, I am sorry we have ruined the entire series for you.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, a little too late for that spoiler warning, but yeah.
Just put it in the video tag.
Yeah. If you guys have seen it, let us know what you guys thought about the series in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the review and want to see more stuff like this, let us know as well in the comments, and please leave a like. So I am Josh, and that was guest Joey. So thank you, man, for coming in for this review. It was really great having you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I love talking about anything comic book related.
All right, so maybe we'll have you on some other time in the future. So
all right,
that'd be cool. All right, so thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.